My dad secretly tested all three of us to see who would take care of our mom after he was gone. None of us realized it until it was too late. I'm the only daughter in my family. I have two brothers, both older than me, and growing up, everyone always said I was the sensitive one. The one who worried too much, asked too many questions, and noticed things other people ignored. A few years ago, my dad started acting differently, and at first none of us really understood why. My dad had always been the calm, organized type, the kind of person who planned things weeks in advance and never forgot anything important. But one year, out of nowhere, he started doing something strange. He began asking each of us for help with random things. Not big favors, small ones. One weekend, he called my older brother and asked if he could come by and help clean out the garage. My brother said he was busy with work and would try another time. The next week, he called my other brother and asked if he could drive mom to a doctor's appointment because he had too many errands. My brother said he'd see if he could make it, but never showed up. Then one evening, he called me. He asked if I could come over just to sit with my mom for a few hours while he went to meet an old friend. Of course, I said yes. When I got there, my mom seemed confused because my dad never actually left the house. He just stayed upstairs, in his office, the whole time. At the time, I thought it was weird, but I didn't question it. Over the next several months, things like that kept happening. My dad would ask one of us for help with something simple. Sometimes it was fixing a light, sometimes grocery shopping, sometimes just stopping by for dinner. The pattern slowly became obvious. My brothers almost always had an excuse. Busy with work, busy with friends, busy with something else. Meanwhile, I started visiting my parents more often without really thinking about it. Sometimes I'd bring groceries, sometimes I'd help my mom organize things around the house. Sometimes I'd just sit with her and watch TV while we talked. My dad never said much about it, but I started noticing something. Every time I visited, he seemed thoughtful, relieved, like he had been waiting to see who would show up. One night about a year ago, my dad and I were sitting on the back porch after dinner. My mom had gone inside to watch a show she liked. Out of nowhere, my dad asked me a question that felt strange at the time. If I wasn't around someday, do you think your brothers would check on your mom? Chuckles. I laughed a little because it sounded dramatic. I told him of course they would. We're family. That's how families work. He nodded slowly but didn't say anything else. After that conversation, the requests kept coming. More little favors. More small moments where someone had the chance to show up, or not. Looking back now, I realized my dad was quietly watching everything. Who answered the phone, who came by when asked, who kept saying they were too busy. About 6 months later, something happened that finally made everything clear. My mom slipped in the kitchen one afternoon and hurt her ankle. It wasn't serious, but she needed help moving around for a couple weeks. My dad called both of my brothers that day. Neither of them came. One said he had meetings. The other said he'd try to visit next weekend. So I packed a bag and stayed at my parents' house for almost 2 weeks, helping my mom around the house. Cooking, cleaning, helping her move around until her ankle healed. During that time, my dad barely said anything about it. But one night while I was washing dishes, he looked at me and said something quietly, whispering, "I was hoping at least one of you would understand." I asked him what he meant, but he just shook his head and changed the subject. A few months later, my dad passed away suddenly in his sleep. It was completely unexpected. After the funeral, my brothers and I were sitting in my parents' living room going through old photos with my mom. That's when she told us something none of us had realized before. Apparently, during the last year of his life, my dad had been keeping notes. Not formal notes, just a small notebook he kept in his desk. In it, he had written down moments when he asked one of us for help. Who showed up, who didn't. At the very end of the notebook, there was one final line. It said, "Now I know who will stay." My brothers didn't say anything after hearing that, neither did I. But ever since then, I've been visiting my mom every few days just to check on her, have dinner together, or help around the house if she needs it. And sometimes when I'm sitting in that same living room where we all grew up, I can't stop thinking about what my dad was really doing that entire year. He wasn't testing us to punish anyone. He just needed to know who would still show up when life stopped being convenient.